police members, and there were a Boy Scout troop that stopped by and became part of that. There were a total of about 100 people that participated in that same memorial service. Today, it stands as a solemn cornerstone of what we now know is Police Week. It's a time where tens of thousands come to the nation's capital and honor the fallen and their families that are left behind. As we gather here in the west front of the United States Capitol, we do so to ensure that the sacrifice of our fallen brothers and sisters is never forgotten. At this time, I would like to introduce the distinguished guests that have joined us here on the stage. Beginning on my far right, please welcome the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms Jennifer Hemingway and Lori Sharp Day, Chairman of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. Thomas Austin, the architect of the United States Capitol, and the National President of the Concerns of Police Survivors, Connie Moyer. Two of our most steadfast allies, the General President of the International Association of Firefighters, Ed Kelly, and the President of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, Ken Walker, are also here with us today. Ryan Birchnell is here representing FirstNet, built by AT&T, which is a major sponsor of the Fraternal Order Police and this event. Please welcome Mike Patella, Acting Director of the United States Marshal Service, and William McCool, Special Agent in charge of Secret Service, Washington, D.C. Field Office. I want to thank the Chief of our host agency, Chief Tom Major, with the United States Capitol Police, for all he and his agency do every year for this memorial service. And Chief, thank you for being here, and thank you for your years of service, and we wish you the very best in your retirement. Glenda Lehman, National President of Fraternal Order Police Auxiliary, is here, and she will be welcoming you in a few moments. Turning now to my far left, please welcome the House Sergeant-at-Arms William McFarland and Acting Director of COPS Office Corey Randolph. We're grateful to have with us Mike Wagers of Axon, one of our steadfast corporate sports sponsors. It's good to have you here again, Mike. Please welcome Acting DEA Administrator Robert Murphy and Tom Lyon, Acting Director of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We also want to welcome U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan, as well as our friend FBI Director Kash Patel. We're also proud to have with us our nation's top cop, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. We're grateful for her leadership and for being here with us today. And finally, it is our privilege to have with us our nation's Second Lady, Vance, and our keynote speaker, J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, of who I'll introduce shortly. And thank you all for attending. Vice President Vance, General Bondi, distinguished guests, members of Congress, law enforcement leaders, survivors, and friends. Thank you for joining us today as we honor the courage and the memory of our fallen heroes who gave their last full measure in the service of others. Each year we gather on this sacred ground to reflect, to grieve, and to celebrate the lives of those who answered the call to serve, knowing full well that might one day be asked to give everything in the defense of their communities. Law enforcement is not a simple job. It's a calling. It's a higher purpose. It's a choice to stand between good and evil, between danger and safety, and between order and chaos. Our brothers and sisters we remember today made that choice willingly. They wore a badge not for recognition or reward, but because they believed in something greater than themselves. They believed in justice, in duty, in service. They kissed their loved ones goodbye, not knowing if they would return home at the end of their shifts, and far too many did not. We gather here not only to mourn their loss, but to ensure that their names, their stories, and their sacrifice is never forgotten. They're not statistics, they're not headlines. They are mothers and fathers, sons, daughters, husbands, wives, partners, and friends. And behind each name etched in stone sits a white chair. These white chairs before us represent far more than just a place to sit. They represent families forever changed, dreams interrupted, empty seats at dinner tables, and milestones that will be missed. To our survivors, your strength inspires us, your grief humbles us, and your presence here today reminds us all that the sacrifice of this profession is never made alone. You carry a burden that no one should bear, but you also carry forward a legacy of those we honor by sharing their stories, by living with courage, and by reminding the world who your loved ones are and what they stood for. Today and every day, we are with you, for we never let our surviving families walk alone. As officers, we know the risk, but we lace up our boots each day with the same resolve: to protect, to serve, and to defend. And while the job takes much from us, we find purpose in knowing that we're making our community safer and our nation stronger. Let us continue to live lives worthy of the sacrifice made by our fallen. Let us serve with integrity, love with intention, and never take each other for granted. As we remember these brave men and women, let their legacy be the light that guides our path forward. Let their sacrifice not be in vain, but the foundation upon which we build a safer and more united future. May God bless our fallen heroes. May He comfort their families, and may He continue to watch over the men and women of law enforcement who stand in line each and every day. Thank you. I now ask Glenda Lehman, President of the National Fraternal Order Police Auxiliary, to welcome you to this memorial service.
Good afternoon. Vice President Vance, esteemed guests, brothers and sisters of law enforcement, and families and friends of our fallen heroes, welcome to the Fraternal Order of Police 44th Annual Peace Officers Memorial Service. We gather with heavy hearts to honor the memory of our brothers and sisters, our heroes, but most importantly, your loved ones, who dedicated their lives to protect and serve their communities and who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week which in it falls as National Police Week. And every year during the month of May, cities and towns across this country celebrate National Police Week by hosting memorial services, tributes, and many other events that honor those law enforcement officers that laid down their lives to show support for the brave men and women still serving. And each year, thousands of law enforcement and their families travel here to Washington, D.C., where we gather on the West Lawn of the United States Capitol, along with the leaders of our country and the leaders of law enforcement. And for those few short hours, our country's pause to pay tribute and to honor the memory and the sacrifice of those brave officers. The 232 brave law enforcement officers whose names will be read today are heroes. Heroes because they, like thousands of other law enforcement officers, were dedicated to the safety of others. Each day they put on a uniform and they pinned on a badge, and they left their homes and your families to protect our homes and our families, not knowing the challenges that they might face, not knowing what that next call may bring. Each of these brave souls answered a call greater than themselves, and in their service came great sacrifice. They sacrificed their safety for ours. We also recognize that you bear great sacrifice. Those forever plans, those important milestones, those everyday moments that will be missed. While no words or actions may truly express our sorrow or lessen the sadness or lessen the sense of your loss, know that we do grieve with you. The void that they leave behind is immeasurable, but so is the impact that they had on the countless lives. They touched hearts, and their legacy lives on in the lives that they protected and in the towns and the communities that they served. They showed us that being a hero is not about superhuman strength or superhuman feat. Being a hero is showing up every day and being ready to make a difference. These heroes made a difference. They made our world a little safer. I am humbled to stand before you today along with thousands of other law enforcement officers from across the country, not only to acknowledge these heroes, but also to support you. There are things that death cannot touch. Your love for your officer, your memory for your officer. Those things will live on forever. Know that your loved ones have left a mark on our country and our hearts, and your loved ones' sacrifice will never be forgotten. Be assured that the men and women of the Fraternal Order of Police and the Fraternal Order of Police Auxiliary are here to support you, and we hope that today's service will bring you comfort. On behalf of the law enforcement families everywhere, we extend our heartfelt condolences, and to our fallen, we honor you, we remember you, and your legacy will endure forever in our hearts. To those who continue to serve, we support you. We thank you for your unwavering commitment to our safety, and we will continue to pray for your safety. To the families and the friends and the co-workers here today, know that the members of the Fraternal Order of Police Auxiliary extend our unending support. We pledge to never let you walk alone. May God bless you and keep you.
Thank you. President Donald Trump wanted to be with us today, but his responsibilities have taken him overseas. He has, however, recorded video tribute, and I'd like to play that now.
A very special hello to all of the law enforcement heroes, family members, and friends of our police who have come to the nation's capital this week to honor our brave men and women in blue. Every day, countless thousands of courageous officers, sheriffs, deputies, troopers, and federal agents risk their lives to protect our communities and keep America safe. They stand firm in the face of crisis and faithfully pursue justice. They are the thin blue line, and it really is very special. It has to do with a thing called civilization and chaos. And we love them, we respect them, and we salute them, and we thank them for their incredible, big, beautiful hearts. Today, on Peace Officers Memorial Day, we especially honor those who have made the supreme sacrifice in defense of our laws. Last year, 147 officers gave their lives in the line of duty. That's some high number. So terrible, so terrible. They were some of the great and very best among us. We cherish their memories, and we wrap our arms around the beautiful families that they left behind. We will honor their sacrifice for all time, and their loved ones will always have our infinite gratitude and unyielding support. On my first day in office, I signed an executive order directing Department of Justice to seek the death penalty for any criminal who murders a police officer, and it was my wonderful honor to do it. I want every law enforcement officer across the country to know that you have a president who will always have your back. So thank you once again for what you do for our country. You are our great people, great, great people. God bless our police officers, and God bless America.
President Trump asked that I share with you that tonight at nightfall, the White House will be illuminated in blue in honor of our fallen. On this solemn day of remembrance, it's an honor to welcome our keynote speaker, J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States. During his time in the United States Senate and now as the Vice President of the United States, he has been a relentless advocate for the men and women who wear a badge. Please join me in welcoming the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Thank you. Thank you all. Please, I know it's a warm day in Washington, but we could have got a lot worse weather in midday in Washington, D.C., so we're honored to have you. I'm honored personally to be able to join you today. And I know from the entire Trump administration, the president, who we heard earlier is overseas, to this great team behind us, we are proud to stand behind the men and women in blue, and we will keep on doing it every day for the next 3.5 years. God bless you. Now, I want to express my gratitude to all of this service's organizers, including, of course, the President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Patrick Yost, and its Executive Director, Jim Pasco. Thank you, guys. I want to thank Linda Lehman, President of the National FOP Auxiliary Board. Thank you, Linda. And the work that you all do, that everyone here does, to advocate on behalf of men and women in blue around our country is vital. You fight for law enforcement officers and their families. You help foster warm relations between the communities that law enforcement serves and the police officers who wear the badge. And most importantly, you make sure our great officers get the dignity and respect they deserve, including from people in power. You hold the people in this building to account, and you make sure they stand up for the men and women in blue. Thank you. Now, one of our administration's greatest goals is to give the American people a renewed sense of ownership over their own country, ownership over their homes, over their neighborhoods, and over their city streets. But none of that would be possible if we don't have a functional system of law or the means to enforce it. Law is the root of ordered liberty in the United States. It is the foundation of a peaceful society. A nation of laws gives certainty to its citizens. It enables them to participate in civic life, to work and raise families, to build a business, all with the assurance that they have a consistent and dependable legal system that will keep them safe as they work every day to realize their dreams. But a society that fails to enforce its own rules, or that chooses to do so haphazardly, can make no such promises to its people. And over the last few years, too many Americans saw exactly what that looks like. City blocks in flames, storefront windows shattered. Countless citizens made victims to random crime and mob violence. In America, we honor the men and women who recognize the value of a peaceful, orderly society and who have chosen to devote their lives to preserving, as the President said, that fragile barrier between civilization and chaos. And today, of course, we mourn those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of that duty. These men and women chose their careers not for enrichment or self-exaltation, and as you all know, not because it pays better than every job on earth, but for the unshakable belief that we have a civilization that is worth defending. They woke up each and every morning. They put on their uniforms, they said goodbye to their loved ones, and they stepped into the unknown. They ran toward danger when others would flee. They didn't hesitate. They didn't waver. They stood tall when others could not. Those officers upheld the rule of law. They fought for that line between civilization and chaos so that freedom could remain more than a promise. It could be the reality of day-to-day life in this country, the foundation of our prosperity and the foundation of American greatness. And we gather today, all of us, in debt to these fallen officers, united in grief and united in gratitude. We mourn their sacrifice, their heroism, their courage and compulsion to protect, which extended well beyond their loved ones and across the entire communities they served. But above all today, we mourn the actual officers, the individual men and women who have been taken from us far too soon. We mourn officers like David Lee, an 18-year veteran of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Last September, Officer Lee was responding to a single-car crash on Interstate 70, a highway I've driven a number of times. As he was retrieving traffic cones from his own vehicle, an illegal immigrant, speeding and under the influence of alcohol, lost control of his car and struck Officer Lee. He was critically injured and passed away during surgery. He died as he lived, serving others tirelessly without fail, and he left behind a grieving wife and two beautiful children. We mourn officers like Fernando Esqueda, a deputy sheriff who had served the Houston area with the Harris County Sheriff's Office for 5 years. Now, after his department launched a manhunt against a suspect thought to have violently assaulted a nearby clerk, Deputy Esqueda sprang into action. His fellow detectives were able to narrow down an area of interest for the suspect's getaway vehicle, but unable to find the car, they ended up dropping the search. Yet Deputy Esqueda returned to the spot and was able to make a positive ID on the vehicle. As he reported the news to his fellow deputies, he was killed in a cowardly ambush attack. Deputy Esqueda was 28 years old. His life unfairly taken in his prime, but his funeral last July, as so many of you know, brought over 1,000 community members to honor and respect that great fallen hero. And finally, we mourn officers like Hamilton County Special Deputy Sheriff Larry Henderson. Now, I realize this case occurred not in 2024, but more recently, not even 2 weeks ago, in fact. But the story hits especially close to home because I am, of course, a person who calls Cincinnati my home. Deputy Henderson was an exemplary public servant to Southwestern Ohio, the part of the country that made me who I am. He dedicated 33 years of his life to protecting the people of Hamilton County, Ohio. But even after having retired recently from the force, Deputy Henderson continued to step up and serve his community. While directing traffic near the University of Cincinnati during a commencement event, he was attacked and killed by a man he'd never even met. A man who we now know targeted Deputy Henderson simply because he was an officer of the law. Deputy Henderson devoted his career to protecting the lives of complete strangers, only to have a complete stranger take his own. And it's a story all of you know too well and happens too often in our country. Now, that case is now in the courts, where I pray his family gets the swift justice that it deserves. But all of us here today pray for Deputy Henderson, Deputy Escada, for Officer Lee, and for the many other peace officers we recognize and honor here today. Their sacrifice was not in vain, but in the furtherance of the most noble ideals and most critical mission of our nation. They laid down their lives to defend safe homes, peaceful neighborhoods, and the quiet order that gives structure and decency to our great American society. And today, we pray as well for the families, the friends, and the other loved ones of every one of these officers, mourning even today people who were taken from us far too soon. Behind each of those officers' badges was a beating heart, a family waiting to hear how the day went, a home left emptier and quieter and sadder than it should be. And I want to speak directly to all of those personally mourning here today. Your loss is our nation's loss. Your grief is our grief. Your heartbreak is our heartbreak. You all feel their absence with a depth and level of pain, of course, that I can't possibly begin to comprehend. But I'm here today to tell you that our administration, and I believe the whole of the American community, stands with you, both as fellow citizens, but also as beneficiaries of the ultimate sacrifice laid down by your loved ones. We love you and we're grateful to you. Their names will never be forgotten, nor will their heroic act of service, which inspire our nation and fill us with great purpose. I hope you know how deeply our administration, from President Trump on down, care about them and care about you. Backing our nation's fallen officers as well as their families has been a consistent priority the president's whole life, from when he was a real estate developer in New York to now when he's the president of the United States. The president and all of us, we love you, we care about you, and we will do everything in our power to help you. It's why last month he took executive action to defend our nation's law enforcement officers, including by creating strong new legal protections and directing federal resources to improve training and pay. It's why our great Attorney General here, the Department of Justice, is working even today with punishing state and local jurisdictions that restrict our peace officers' ability to do their jobs, and with pursuing the death penalty for criminals who murder our cops. And finally, it's why the president cares so deeply about the crisis we inherited at the border, about stopping the violent criminals, the cartels, and the culture of lawlessness that were allowed to pervade our nation for far too many years. And while we're talking about policy, I want to be clear about one last thing. The Trump administration has zero tolerance for anyone who threatens to defund, abolish, or otherwise diminish our law enforcement heroes. And I know that none of us here like crime, but last year in November, I think the American people killed the defund the police movement, and they used Donald J. Trump as the murder weapon. It is gone from this country, and we're never going to let it come back. And just as President Trump and the administration are filled with strong leaders, we have no tolerance for weak-willed municipal leaders who allow petty crime to take root all over our communities. We have no tolerance for people who defy our immigration laws or surrender entire blocks of their own cities to Antifa and other ridiculous organizations. And perhaps worst of them all, we have no tolerance for far-left prosecutors boosted in their elections by faraway billionaires who come into office and simply decline to take action against criminals. We are going to fight against crime, we're going to fight against criminals, and we're going to empower all of you to do your jobs every single day. Over the past 4 years, too much of our country was subjected to a giant, radical experiment about what happens when you stop enforcing the law. And it's our peace officers, it's all of you, it's your families, and our sacred fallen loved ones who bore the brunt of it. But that ended on January the 20th, 2025. This administration will never disparage or degrade our police officers, and particularly not the memory of those who died defending our society. That is our promise, our sacred obligation to never forget, to never allow the sacrifice of our fallen officers to be met with silence or allow their courage to be met with indifference. Because what our fallen heroes gave us was not just safety, it was stability, dignity, the freedom to live our lives knowing we were safe, knowing that somebody was watching out for us and for our children. And while these officers' watch has ended, the responsibility they carried now falls on all of us. We honor them, not only in eulogy, not just with words, but in action, and how we raise our children, how we stand up for our communities, and how fiercely we defend the values that they died fighting for. To the next generation, let the example of these fallen heroes be a lesson that freedom is not inherited, it is upheld, and that a civilization's peace is not inevitable. It is earned and it is kept by those who are willing to protect it. May God bless the law enforcement officers who gave their lives for their nation and the values we hold dear. May God provide comfort and grace to those of us left grieving in their absence. And may it continue to bless all of us, those in blue and all Americans across our country, and let us continually be true to the sacrifice that all of our officers in blue made and continue to make every single day. Thank you all. God bless America. It's an honor to be with you, and I'm glad to be here.